and my man, yeah, that's right, the blonde bombshell, the unicorn, the betting expert, my man, John Buckets. Hey, Buckets, how the fuck are you, brother?
Ian, I am doing You know what? I apologize in advance, Mama Buckets. Ian, I am doing fantastic today. It is a good day to be here. It is a good day to be alive. I'm in a good mood. The spirits are high, and I'm ready for an hour of footy talk with my best buddy, IPJ here.
I love to hear it. Now, before we get into it, I must admit that it is a very important month in our world, John Bucketimer, because May is, of course, Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'd just like to say a few words out there to everybody out there who's watching our show. You are here for the entertainment. You are here for the bets. You are here for the blonde bombshell. You are here for our producer, Jeff, who is fucking killing the game. But you're also here to learn a thing or two. And that is betting responsibly, look after your mental health, be very careful with how you live your life. Buckets, just a word of warning to everybody out there, especially in the betting space, how important it is to look after the mental health.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Ian, because I forgot that we are in a new month now. It is May 1st at the time of recording this. So, of course, we're going to talk about the importance of mental health in the betting space. And if you ever needed a reminder that things are going to be okay when you have a bad day or a bad week of betting, just look at how the betting went on last week of stoppage time compared to the betting week of this week of stoppage time. Listen, we all have bad runs. We all have some bad beats. We all have tough times here in the betting space, but keep calm, bet responsibly, don't chase your losses, and I promise we'll be okay in the end here.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody else out there know and understand that we are your friends. We're here. Stoppage Time as a family. We are a safe place where people can come and be entertained. You can place wagers and not be scrutinized. You certainly won't be judged in our space for placing a wager. And a lot of you there feel uncomfortable talking about placing bets, but not in our space. But we want you to bet responsibly for that reason, to protect yourself and your mental health. Me and Bucket speak openly, so does producer Jeff, about the importance of looking after your mental health. You're not alone. It doesn't matter if you're living alone, you don't have many friends. We are your friends now, and we are a family. And everyone here has to understand that. It is a safe space where you can communicate with one another on our chat, on our comments on YouTube, on social media. It doesn't matter. It's a safe space. You won't be judged. You can always reach out to myself and Buckets if ever there's anything going on. And Buckets, we've had 2 or 3 people reach out to us already and say, boys, I can't thank you enough for talking about the importance of raising awareness on your own mental health.
I think one of my favorite DMs I've ever gotten was somebody taking the time to reach out to me and say, Buckets, I wanted to let you know that I need a break and I'm not going to be betting for a while. I need to just reset and make sure that I'm not, in a bad headspace while I'm doing that. But I'm still going to watch and support your show because you guys are my friends and my family. That's okay. If you need a break, please take a break. We are never trying to force you to wager. We are trying to teach you how to do it in a smart way and be there alongside guiding you as we go week by week here, Ian.
All right, back to the show. Stoppage time. We got a great episode for you today. It's going to be a rather quick one today because IPJ's got to be in the studio. It's Champions League Day. You know what it's all about. Buckets, real quickly, we got to talk about your weekend. Columbus Crew, 0 against Montreal, 0. How was your experience this weekend, though? It was nice to be at a game, though, right?
It was so nice to be a game. That was my first time going to that new stadium. And I will just say, even though it was 0-0, a little bit of a snoozer, that environment is my favorite environment on the planet. I was sitting not right by, but close enough to the Nordeca, kind of the like Columbus fan base, I'm going to call them ultras right there. And it was cool to see the American football system be that excited. It was 90 minutes of constant chanting and drums and flag banner waving and support. And even though it was a 0-0, dude, what an environment. I was very proud of the Columbus Crew. I was very proud of the Columbus supporters. And my word, when Cucho did sub on at the 70th minute, I had to plug my ears. It was that IPJ intro scream. It was deafening support for the club, and I loved seeing that, man.
What's your record now when you go to Major League Soccer games, then scores?
I have been to 2 MLS games in my footballing career. Nashville versus, I think it was Toronto, but I might be wrong. 0-0. Now Crew versus Montreal, 0-0. I have yet to see an MLS goal in person, but eventually it has to happen, maybe?
Listen, all you need to do is just come watch my boys. NYCFC,
Oh.
baby. This weekend, I went to the NYCFC match once again with Coco and the family. And as you can see, myself and Alessandra Rosejoy were glued into the game. Producer Jeff was also there in attendance, enjoying the moment. And I'll tell you something, Buckets. This game was intense. It was one of those games that was on a knife edge all the way to the end of the game. We did decide to leave a little bit earlier before we got that winning goal. Thank you to Martinez, who scored 90 plus 3, aka fucking stoppage time, by the way. We've done that a few times already this season, but it was just brilliant. The energy, the electricity around New York City Football Club right now, especially since the announcement of the new stadium coming into town. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. But if you want to see goals in Major League Soccer, go check out my boys. I've been to 4 games this year already in Major League Soccer, and we've won all 4 of those games. I hope we win this weekend. We're playing Colorado this weekend. I'm not going to be there because I'm in the studio for CBS, and I'm hoping, I hope we actually pick up 3 points. There's somebody out there on social media who's actually picked on the fact that I've been in attendance in all wins, and they're producing it out there on social media saying, Joy Pauline's been in attendance in all 4 of our wins. Make sure this motherfucker's at the game next time so that we can continue to win games again. Doesn't know yet until he watches this episode that I won't be there this weekend. Anyway, big shout out to Keaton Parks, who just recently played his 100th game for NYCFC. He scored the opening goal 41 minutes into the game. Vargas had opened the score 3 minutes into the game for Charlotte. What a great goal that was. And they probably should have scored 2 or 3 goals in that first half, Charlotte. But then all of a sudden, NYCFC started to play their football. And I just thought, man, oh man, this is reminding me of the days when Nick Cushion's getting this team playing. Wow, they're starting to put together a really talented team, and hopefully that can continue. Anyway, enough of the chat buckets. We got to get on to more important shit, because this weekend, I've got a feeling you were on a bit of a roll. Take me through it, baby!
Yeah, we can call it a bit of a roll, or we can call it one hell of an absolute weekend here, Ian. And I know that you have to be in the studio, so even though these are a bunch of good wins, I'm still going to go through these quickly for you. Starting with, I'm on the wrong sheet here, bang. We're starting with Brighton versus Manchester City. Phil Foden to have a shot on target in the first half. I had never done that wager in my entire life. Not only did he have a shot on target, he had was it 2 goals in that game? Yeah, Foden taking care of business. Then we went to the German Bundesliga. Bochum versus Hoffenheim. Bochum over 1.5 team total, and Hoffenheim over 1.5 team total. Both of those cashed in. I have now done that 3 times on the show. We are 6-0 when betting on the same game, betting on both sides. So maybe something special there. Who knows? Then Bayern Munich versus Eintracht Frankfurt, over 1.5 goals in the first half. Minus 105. This one was tricky, but I told everyone, listen, it's a revenge game. Bayern Munich, I know it doesn't really matter. They don't need to win, but they're still going to win, and win they did, just like us. Then Olympic Lyon versus Monaco, both teams to score over 2.5. Ian, we got that at minus 115. 10 minutes before kickoff, minus 210. And it did not disappoint. That game hit both teams to score and over 2.5 in the first 25 minutes. Then it had to happen eventually. Our first loss was in the Portuguese Premier League. Estrela Amadora versus Farense, both teams to score. Minus 120 was the first big X, but luckily it was the only big X. Our last bet was Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. Bayern Munich draw, no bet. We were so close to this one. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit. Phenomenal game there. And then, Ian, we have one more wager remaining. Dortmund versus PSG. Dortmund over 1.5 team total, and we're not going to know what happens in that one, unfortunately, till after this episode is out. So, Jeff, because I want you on my good side, I'm going to say that one hit in advance. Let's go the mighty Dortmund, baby.
Hey, congratulations, Buckets. That was a hell of a week, and I know you absolutely wanted to make it happen for the loyal listeners out there, because I know what you're like. You are someone who wants to provide winners, winning ticket. You want to provide joy to people more than you do winning tickets. You want to put a smile on people's faces. Speaking about mental health, that's who you are. You bring joy. You bring beauty to people's lives, whether you win, lose, or push. You have to understand that. It's not necessarily all about the wins, but sure does make life a lot easier when you are hitting those bets on our show, Stoppage Time. John Bucketsheimer, have you noticed that there's been a few haters that have disappeared? We don't have many of them, but one in particular who's caught my attention, who seems to have taken a disliking to you. His name is Connor6524765889. He's disappeared this week. I haven't seen anything from him, because apparently he only comes around when the losing tickets are around. The haters have gone.
Connor 654-69-24-7, whatever the hell your name was, brother, we miss you. I'm fully expecting him to come back here when we have ourselves a losing day, but it might be a while until we see him again if he's only here for the losses.
It's called a burner account for someone you know, Bucket. Someone's out for you. Just going to throw it out there right now. Anyway, speaking of not haters, but loyal listeners, this was an interesting comment that came in. This was from Cameron4474. He said, just post your record of units won and lost and prove the haters wrong. Hard to say there's not time when gimmicks like unboxing and dating updates are on the show. In a win-loss business, it's not being negative. It's just reality that results matter. A soccer club can't avoid relegation by just being positive. Now, what would your initial response be to Cameron right there in a composed manner? Cameron, of course, a loyal listener. We respect your feelings, and I want to hear from people who have comments like this because this is how to approach us so we can at least react to it.
This is the perfect way to approach us. There's no hate. There's no, hey, F you guys, where's the blah, blah. It's a respectful, fair comment. But I will say, you can't call unboxing and dating updates gimmicks. Those are not gimmicks. That is what the people want, Ian. I have more people asking for dating updates than I do asking for bets half the time on the show. With that being said, I understand where Cameron is coming from. But Cameron, you have to understand that Ian and I are doing this as a free project for everyone. We are doing this because we love the sport. We love talking about mental health. We love talking about my dating life. We love creating entertainment. And the fact is that Ian and I do not get paid for this. So as soon as we finish filming this, we work with producer Jeff. Ian has to go off to his other job. I have to go off to my other jobs. There's just not enough hours in the day for us to be going through and recapping and tracking everything. So I respect this comment. I appreciate it, Ian. But even if this does sound like a cop-out answer, until this becomes something to where this is a full-time position for us, there's only so much we can do in the day to provide the best content we can for our viewers.
Yeah, that was a very Switzerland political answer right there from John
Yeah.
Bucketimer. Cameron, listen, I appreciate your comment, and I absolutely love the fact that you wrote it in a respectful manner. Now, we're trying to create an entertainment show here. We're not trying to create just a betting-specific show. Yes, we want to make sure that we get the bets out there and people get what they want, which is, of course, why they come here, is for the bets. But at the same time, we keep them here for the entertainment. We want them to be invited into our lives. You have to be invested in us as to understand how we get to these wagers, how we get to these leans, how we get to these bets that we're choosing. I want people to understand who I am as a human being. I don't want to just be someone who's out there, a random nobody, who's giving you bet after bet after bet after bet after bet after bet, and you don't know who the fuck I am. No, I'm introducing you to everything about my life so you can maybe at one point understand who I am and why I'm producing it. Now, speaking of the units won or lost, we do a recap on every single show on the bets that we say this is where we're going. But what we do on every single show is say, hey, you know what? This is only information we're providing for you. It is up to you to make your own bet. We have thousands of our loyal listeners out there who take our information, who create their own bet with our information using maybe our leans, maybe the bets we're going for, and create their own. So we can't sit here and say it's worthwhile us going through every single bet or lean, because if you look at our show, one episode of our show, you can even go through this one. You will probably notice that we are leaning 50 different ways. And it's impossible for us to go and break down all of that. I can happily break down mine because I only provide one natural pick every week where I'm going. But at the end of the day, Buckets is providing 6 and 7. And if you look at it, I give him 6 or 7. He sometimes comes up with 9. So it's impossible for us to always go back to wins or losses. It takes up too much time. People don't want to hear, even if you're winning, Buckets just almost swept there. And we were done with it in 2 minutes. Because people don't want to hear about the results. They want to hear about what's next. And that's where we go. And I hope that breaks it down for you in a positive manner. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Cameron, because it was a respectful way. Connor's, he's another one. He's a dick. But at the same time, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Cameron. I'm trying to answer your question in a respectful way. We are making sure that our people are betting responsibly and that they're listening to our information and providing their own wagers and then sharing their information with us. That's what we do, and that's how we do it. Buckets, last comment before we move on.
Last comment is well said, Ian. Let's move on.
All right, let's get to Joy Paul Ian. Yeah, that's right. My handle on social media. IPJs. Best bet for this past weekend. Buckets. I was on 3 games. I was on Kilmarnock against Hearts, St Mirren against Rangers, Dundee against Celtic. It was a 3-leg parlay. I was on Celtic and Rangers both to win their game, and I was on Heart of Midlothian double chance. Parlayed all together. It was one of the highest plus numbers I have gone to. Plus 178. Now, the first game that took place was Kilmarnock against Hearts. It was early on Saturday morning. That game finished 0-0. Thank God I was on the double chance. Rangers got a winner 74 minutes into their game against St Mirren. Desser scoring that goal. And then Celtic got off to a 2-goal lead thanks to Forrest, James Forrest, who scored 2 bangers of a goal to make it 2-1 against Dundee. And I, of course, cashed my ticket. First and foremost, Buckets, it felt good to cash that ticket. And as for everybody out there, including you, Cameron, I'm not trying to stick to minus 150s here. That was a plus 178 banger. It's what I was feeling. Everybody now knows me, who the loyal listeners are, and that one cashed like an absolute fucking rocket, Buckets.
It cashed like an absolute rocket. And this is another reason why it's hard to recap things in the terms of just wins and losses. With the way that IPJ is betting now, we're seeing a lot more of these plus odds tickets. You can go 1-3 in a day and still find profit if you're betting the way Ian does. Which way? This way. Ian does. But first of all, I just want to say it's a Scottish Premiership parlay. If Ian tells you to bet it, you bet it. You don't question it. You don't do your research. I always blind tail whenever Ian gives out a play involving these Scottish teams. Ian, a little bit sweaty there, but 3 great picks from you parlayed together.
Thank you, brother. Now, just want to update everybody, and here's where we're going now. I've gone straight from my winning ticket out there. Congratulations to everyone that tailed to information as to how we go forward with the Scottish Premiership. We're in the Championship group right now. Celtic are top of the table on 81 points. Rangers are second in the table on 78 points. We still have a title race on our hands, John Bucketimer, and the games that are coming up are phenomenal. Get this, Buckets. Celtic against Hearts coming up this weekend on May 4th. Be with you. And then Rangers against Kilmarnock coming up on May 5th, which is this weekend. Make sure you get your tickets in there. Information we've provided you from the last 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 episodes of the show. Make your own little parlay and see what you come up with, because guess what's happening next week on Saturday, May 11th, John Bucketimer?
What's that, Ian?
It is the Scottish Old Firm, Celtic at home to Glasgow Rangers in what will be a must-win game for both Glasgow Giants. Win that game and you will most likely win the Premiership title in Scotland. It's a cracking game to look forward to, but if you were leaning one way or another, Buckets, right now, which way would you go?
I'm going to say something maybe crazy here. I'm actually leaning towards Rangers because I don't know if Celtics are going to get the result against Hearts, and that might knock them down a peg before the big old firm matchup here.
I'm going for Celtic to win against Hearts, unfortunately, for the Jam Tarts out there. I hope it's not the case. I'd like to see Hearts play well, and I'd like to see our boy Lauren Shanklin step up. He has done it before, where Hearts have recently won against Celtic at their place, but I just think that coming to the end of the season, I mean, Celtic are playing good football right now, so it's going to be difficult to watch either of these sides lose. And then that game, that cup final in the Championship, it's going to be absolutely fucking brilliant. The Premiership, of course, May 11th, Celtic against Rangers. Make sure you don't miss that game. Speaking of Hot Coco, want to hear what happened with her best bet this weekend?
Unfortunately, I do, Ian.
She was 5-2 from the last 7 going into this weekend, and Hot Coco decided to go for an interesting game. Once again, back to a team that stung her, and you warned her, Buckets. You warned her. Be careful with those New York Red Bulls. I also said stay away from them, the New Jersey Red Bulls, because what happened was both teams to score in over 2.5 goals didn't hit. Hot Coco missed her best bet, and why the game finished 1-1. We got an early goal from White in the 15th minute from Vancouver to open the score, and I thought, oh my God, she's going to hit this one. And then all of a sudden, Morgan scored 56 minutes into this game for New York Red Bulls, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to get a winner here. And then, of course, what happened? Yet again, another red card. Noah Eli, or Isle, I can't even pronounce his name correctly, whatever your name is, for the New York Red Bulls, got sent off 74 minutes into the game. And apparently New York Red Bulls would like Hot Coco to stop placing a wager on them, because every time she does, a fucking red card appears. There was a crazy amount of shots in this game. 9 shots on target from the Red Bulls, 4 shots on target from the Whitecaps, and Hot Coco missed her bet. The game finished 1-1. Buckets, you warned her.
I warned her. Listen, I did see her tweet. I will say I appreciate that she is switching her energy drink of choice now, and it was a picture of a Celsius can. So I'm a big fan of that. But I did warn her. Listen, I support my boy IPJ here. You can only bet against the wrong New York club so many times before you learn, right?
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Well said. Thank you very much. Just make sure you never come to an NYCFC game until we're actually guaranteed to be in the playoffs, because we don't want to see a 0-0. You ready for the loyal listener comments?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get fired into the loyal listener comments from this past weekend. Thank you to everybody for jumping back into the comment section, because we know you're back from vacation or wherever the fuck you've been. Spring break's over. Back to the betting space. IPJ and Buckets are here for you. We jump into Will Reed. He said, great show, great energy. This one's got extra energy today because we're in a bit of a rush to get through the show. Then we've got Scott Wise jumping in and saying, let's absolutely fucking have it. You best believe it, Scotty. Thank you so much for jumping in the comments. Blake, He said, I take responsibility for the comments being down. 1.5-year-old smashed my phone last week, so I went MIA. Let's smash some tickets this week, boys. Blake, you missed the great week to smash your phone up because since you've had a new phone and jumped back in the comments, my man Buckets has been cashing fucking tickets. But that's what happens, Buckets. Blake, that's a great reason to actually skip a week.
That's a great reason. I'm hoping you were able to still tail those picks because the winners probably helped you get a new phone there, Blake. But welcome back. We missed you. Let's keep going.
How about this one? Jared jumping in and saying, had last week off due to the bets. Had last week off the bets due to my dad visiting from Australia. Get on, mate. Important family time, but back and ready to have it this week. My favorite team recently to bet on is LA Galaxy over 1.5 team total. 9 of the last 11 have hit. Probably jinxed it now. Let me know when the team wants to visit Charlotte. And you jinxed it, Jared. Austin 2, Galaxy 0. It's a shame that you actually missed that ticket there because I was on LA Galaxy scoring a couple of goals as well. And I thought, man, they're going to be a team who score 2 or 3 against a very poor and weak Austin side. Yep. We've started to turn it around a little bit there. Maybe the Wolfman is understanding and his job is on the line if he doesn't get it right. We will be back down to Charlotte at some point. We will get to a game, absolutely, because your team is good. I watched Charlotte against NYCFC. Thanks for leaving all 3 points in the Bronx. That was very kind of you. But Buckets, this is a good reason, though. When family's in town, switch your phone off and enjoy the time.
Absolutely. We will be here every week, so you don't have to be. Take the time you need for the family. And welcome back, brother.
Craig Kelly. Oh, what a great Scottish name. Ian, I will be following your Scottish bet, but replacing Hearts with Kilmarnock, as that's my team. And just to let you know, second bottom goes into a relegation playoff, and fifth places into the Champions League group goes into the first round of the Conference League, as Aberdeen knocked out of the Scottish Cup. P.S. It hurt me so much, Buckets, saying Kilmarnock. Buckets, can you say Kilmarnock?
Did I say it wrong?
I say it again.
I say Kilmarnock.
Yeah, that just crushed Craig's soul right there. Listen, you cashed your ticket anyway, Craig, because you replaced Double Chance for Kilmarnock. Double Chance, obviously. So congratulations. It was an interesting game. I was watching it on a wee monitor, and there wasn't many opportunities, but I would say this, though. Kilmarnock were the better side in that game. They actually impressed me and probably should have scored. Outside of that, Hearts were maybe a bit lucky to come away with a nil result. We jump to our man, Keg KC. What's his name again, Buckets?
Oh, Parlay Kyle? Is that who this is?
Kyle's back in. Hey, Ian, really sorry to hear your neck is still fucked up. You're doing a great job fighting through it, although I wouldn't gone with a robot. Penguin, maybe, with way wishing the best for you, brother, and a day sometime soon when Buckets is the only pain in the neck you're dealing with. Love and health to the whole Stoppage family. We love you, Kyle. Appreciate you. Thank you always for the positive messages, and we wish you good health. Obviously, we know you've been through it. You are a loyal listener from the beginning, and we love everything you're doing. Appreciate you sending all the love, especially in May, Mental Health Awareness Month, to you, brother. Stephen Tompkins jumping back in and saying Buckets' his Bundesliga double was an excellent call. Bochum cashed in the first half, and it took a while for Hoffenheim to get going, but Andrej Kramaric's second goal was a thing of absolute beauty and made the Hoffenheim team total wager golden indeed. I love that you read the loyal listener comments each week, IPJ. You gentlemen are a credit to the betting community. Hashtag have it. Buckets, there's a lot to take in there. Of course, talk us through your bet first and foremost. That was a great cash ticket, couple of cash tickets right there, but also Stephen's positivity when it comes to the loyal listener comments and mental health.
Yeah, Steven's another one of those OGs. He's been around for so long, and he understands there's more to this than just betting. But talking about the betting, Kramaric absolutely saved us. A couple of beauties for him to pick up a brace there. I was actually on Maximilian, I can never say his last name, Bayer to have a goal in this one. He was subbed off in the 60th minute, and I said, okay, Hoffenheim's just giving up. Him and Weghorst are out. They don't care about goals. Just to watch Kramaric say, hey, don't worry, boys. I got you, and handled it for us. Steven, thank you for the comment.
J-Cash jumping in and saying, IPJ, that shirt is fire. Any plans on stoppage time merch? We do have plans. We have to be patient. We have to make sure we drop it at the right time, make sure the show's safe, and make sure we've got a good foundation going before we drop the merch, because we don't want anyone to spend money on shit that's not going to be around for a long time. Fuck that. We plan on being here forever. At some point, the merch is coming. We've got KC123MD jumping in and saying, MASL is another great pickup from this podcast. Watching this reminds me of the indoor soccer days of my past. Played keeper and and striker. Would have never known about this without you guys. Thanks, Buckets. We are changing the game. Not only are we introducing the best wagers and entertainment, we're also introducing soccer to our people.
Which was kind of the goal since day one, was to introduce the beautiful game to as many people as we possibly could. And I'm still learning every single day. I had no idea what MASL was till a couple weeks ago, Ian, when I saw you on Galazzo talking about it. And now I'm trying to watch it whenever I can, man. That's a ton of fun.
What did you think of the most recent final action? Of course, with the comments involved against the Chihuahua Savage. Your thoughts?
My thoughts were Chihuahua Savage still might be the greatest sporting name in the entirety of sports as it is. I actually fell asleep during the final last night. It was a very long day for me. I know that comments were up 4-3, and then I don't actually know how that ended yet, Ian. So I got to see what happened in that second leg.
I'm going to leave it for you to find out a little
Please
bit later
do.
on. Maybe you should watch the highlights, and everybody out there, go watch the MASL. It's absolutely brilliant. We appreciate the love from the MASL family as well, especially our guy, JP Dellacamera, for everything he has done for the beauty of our game, soccer. Dellacamera, what a legend, by the way. What a legend. MASL, what a great sport. Go and enjoy it, everybody, because at some point, myself, Buckets, and producer Jeff might be buying our own fucking team. Frank Rubinho jumping in. No comment for Hot Coco. He said, IPJ, best rant ever. GOAT. Appreciate you, Frank. Thank you for jumping in and not hitting on my wife and showing some love for myself for the first time in about 100 episodes. Christopher Morris, he jumped in and said, IPJ ring sizing story should be told in schools across the globe. If you don't know what happened with the ring story, I'm sure producer Jeff will put it in here right about now. It goes on my middle finger, and it goes on my middle finger for a purpose. If you look at my other finger, there's my German championship ring. I actually asked for them to be sized for my middle finger, and the reason why is because people said to me, you'll never be able to do it, you'll never ever play, you'll never win a championship. So when I won my German championship, I got my ring sized for my middle finger for a reason. And then when I won my MLS championship ring as a broadcaster for the very first time, this one has been sized for my middle finger as well. This right here is a fuck you to everybody who ever doubted me, Buckets, and that's why I do it. Anyway, back to the comments. We've got Gizo jumping in and saying, I always love that Buckets never gets the TV movie references. He shows he's all about the soccer, Shogun, and Freyr. What the fuck is Shogun?
Oh, dude, you haven't seen Shogun?
Nope.
It's like, you ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like medieval era Japanese Game of Thrones. It's that kind of in-depth, crazy storytelling. They just finished the first season, but definitely worth the watch.
Love that one. Nicholas Alsvine jumping in and saying, watching Buckets navigate IPJ's interrogation on the dating life is top shelf entertainment. Great show, team. Be great this weekend. Great comment right there. Also goes back to what Cameron was asking about. You know, why don't you have to? No, people here for the entertainment. They want to hear about Buckets. They want to know about his life. They want to speak to Hot Coco. They want to get information from us about our lives so that they can understand who we are. Let's go to, this is an interesting one. I'm going to take my time here. There's a couple. We've got Alvaro jumping in and saying, would love to see if you can give a weekly spot or more coverage to that crazy Mexican league. It is so entertaining. Buckets, you do place a wager every now and again on the Mexican league.
I place a wager every now and then on some Liga MX, and honestly, I'm down to talk more and do more betting with it. I do know that a lot of these really good Mexican teams right now are still involved in the CONCACAF, what is it, Champions Cup, CONCACAF?
Yep.
Something going on right there. I know just tonight itself, my Columbus Crew are taking on Monterrey.
Let's go to Stephen Lochner. He said, much love right back at both of you and producer Jeff, of course. Stevie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for always jumping in the comments with the positivity as well. And then it gets me to this one here. Alvaro jumping back in and said, Mr. Buckets, I messaged you and your very special gift is on the way. Alvaro has sent you something to your P.O. box, Buckets. Have you, in fact, gone to the P.O. box recently to check?
I did. He actually tweeted at me a screenshot of the estimated delivery date saying the big one will be there May 3rd. So at the time of recording, Wednesday, it is May 1st. So I'll have to check that Friday and get it ready for next week's show.
May the 3rd be with you. Hot Coco also decided to send you a little something, Bucket. She has been working on this for a long period of time. Incredibly frustrated that the delivery process took a rather long period of time. I saw her rather angry trying to put this gift together for you, Buckets. And anyway, she decided to send it in the mail. And in fact, it has delivered another gift from Hot Coco. And this one, I know she's very proud of, Bucket. So feel free to open it up on the show right about now.
I will do that right now. If you don't remember, Hot Coco sent me the Bayern Munich bucket hat, and I opened it up immediately, and she said you were supposed to wait for the show. So that's exactly what we did with this package right here. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to hide the label so nobody sees y'all's address. That's probably smart. And you're going to
Definitely
see.
smart. Come to my house. I will absolutely make sure you never leave alive.
And after that death threat, we are going to pull out. Sorry, we're going to pull out the package here. That's not any better. Dude. Ian.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, that deserves a war cry right there. When you see some shit like that, first and foremost, let me get your impression on the gift from Coco.
Did she make it?
She got it designed for you.
So fucking cool, dude. She even got, I got a little bit of stubble in the picture. She got the beard right, the tattoos and everything. You're mid war cry in that picture. Come on now. Dude,
I feel like it deserves a little bit of a war cry with the reaction from Buckets. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome to Stoppage Time, presented by Hot Coco. I love it, baby. I absolutely love it. So creative and such a part of the loyal listener family. Of course, all of the followers out there who love listening to Hot Coco and love listening to her bets. She has really become a big part of our family and such a terrific bettor as well. She's taken it personally, though, the losses. You know, she doesn't like losing. Let me just tell you that. In anything in life, she doesn't like losing, but that's a pretty sweet gift, buddy.
Dude, this is incredible. Thank you so much, Hot Coco, for this. This will be around forever, right? This will be on the shelf in every show we ever do, and it'll be in my life for the rest of my life, Hot Coco. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's get into it, Buckets. Before we get to your best bets, I want to talk about what happened most recently. We can't obviously talk about both legs because one of them has only taken place as we record this show, but we got to talk about the big one. Bayern Munich 2, Real Madrid 2. Vinny Jr. opened the scoring. 24 minutes into the game, the 23-year-old superstar got his 19th Champions League goal in 54 games, his 9th in the knockout stages. Since the start of 2021-22 campaign, Real Madrid's Vinny Jr. has been directly involved in more goals in the UEFA Champions League than any other fucking player. 30 goals with 15 goals, 15 assists, which is incredible. Leroy Sané equalized. Second half was much more and improved from Bayern Munich. 25 games without a goal. That was over when he scored that banger into the near post. His last goal came against Darmstadt back in October. What a great goal. Running at the defense, getting that near post. Maybe you could say Lunin should have done better at the near post, but at the same time, the power, the accuracy, the finish was absolutely brilliant. Great to see Leroy Sané attacking defenders like he did do. Harry Kane got his goal. 43 appearances, 43 goals across all competitions. He is the 10th Englishman to score in a Champions League semi-final, which is a crazy statistic. He has now been directly involved in more goals in a single Champions League campaign than any other Englishman in the competition's history. 11 games, 8 goals, 3 assists, which is absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, another penalty kick was awarded. Vinny Jr. stepped up from the spot. 23-year-old superstars have pointed out 10 goals now in their knockout rounds. Listen to Vinny Jr.'s statistics, Buckets. This is insane. He has played a crazy amount of games. He's played 54 games in the Champions League. He has scored as many goals in knockout rounds of the Champions League as he has scored in the group stage. He's played 27 games in the groups and he scored 10 goals. He's played 27 games in the knockout rounds and scored also 10 goals, which is absolutely crazy. So from a Bayern Munich perspective, first and foremost, your thoughts and overall thoughts on the game.
My overall thoughts on this game from a Bayern Munich perspective is that I was honestly very impressed. I thought we played very, very well. This was a very sound match from all of us. A couple big defensive errors from Kim Min-jae, but that happens. This is a Champions League game, and he has not been a regular starter for us. And when you put someone in that hasn't played in a couple weeks or not played consistently into that big spot against a side like Real Madrid, against a team that has such incredible players and such quick players and such just good players up front, you're going to make mistakes. It happens. I am proud of the 2-2 draw. I desperately wanted a 2-1, maybe 3-2 win because now the fact that we have to go back to the Bernabeu and try to win, I know that's going to be tough. But ultimately, I was very proud of that performance. And I thought more than anything, it was a good, even game. So many times in these first legs, we see a game where it's, people on Twitter saying, ugh, they got lucky or, shitty refereeing is the only reason, blah, blah, blah. This was a fair match. It was a fair result. And I'm proud of how everyone played in that matchup. Very excited, but very nervous for the second leg, Ian.
I just want to remind everybody out there, the last 2 times that Bayern Munich have gone to Bernabeu, they have scored 2 goals each time they have gone there. They have yet to win either of those 2 games, though. They have conceded 6. Hey, Buckets, let's get into it. You know, it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get some wagers from the hottest. Oh, yes. And I don't mean sexy. I mean the hottest better in the business, the hottest capper in the business, the hottest soccer wager expert in our business. That is, of course, John Bucketimer, the betting expert, the unicorn, someone who knows what he's doing. And, of course, most of us out there who actually don't know what we're doing are learning something from Buckets every single time. Welcome back, Buckets. You have already hit the big time, but let's continue that momentum going into this week's episode of Stoppage Time. I want 7 best bets from you, Buckets. I'm looking at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The only caveat would be that Tuesday and Wednesday must come from those second legs in the Champions League semifinals. And if you don't have a line or a player or a prop bet, you can just give us a lean as to where you are going. PSG against Borussia Dortmund on the Tuesday, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich second leg on the Wednesday. It's not so easy to go for that PSG Borussia Dortmund game because we don't know, as we're recording the show, what the score is right now, but you can lean in a certain direction. Let's go to your best bet on Thursday.
All right, we had our bounce back week last week. Now it's time to continue the momentum moving forward. And we're going to start by doing something that I said I would never do again. So I apologize in advance to absolutely everyone. We're betting on a Chelsea game. I know I said just last week that this is a club that I refuse to bet on because I have no idea what the hell happens or when they're going to win. But one thing that you can consistently bet on in Chelsea right now, especially when they're playing Spurs, is goals. This is over 3.5 goals. It's not even 2.5. It is 3.5 at minus 120. And I know that people are going to say, minus odds for over 3.5 goals. Golly gee darn it, Buckets. That sounds like a lot. It is not a lot. Look at Chelsea's recent games in domestic league competitions. 2-2 to Aston Villa, 5-0 to Arsenal, 6-0 to Everton, 2-2 to Sheffield United, 4-3 to Man United, 2-2 to Burnley. We're seeing a trend. 6 matches straight in EPL fixtures. It actually continues 8 matches straight in EPL fixtures that we've seen not only over 2.5 goals, but over 3.5 goals. This is a Chelsea team that just doesn't care anymore. They're playing free, flowing, fun, creative football. And as long as Cole Palmer is playing, they're probably going to score 2 goals in the process. Meanwhile, Spurs, they're still in the top 4 race somehow. This is a team under Ange Postecoglou that has 2 games in hand and are down 7 points right now to Aston Villa, which means if they continue to win, they could find Champions League football. But to win against Chelsea, you got to score 2 or 3 goals here, Ian. I wanted to play both teams to score in over 2.5, minus 240 for that line. So let's just make it easy and say give us 4 goals in this game.
Yeah, it's very hard to find profit, isn't it, when you actually look at a game like this with 2 teams being so unpredictable like they are. Tottenham, of course, 5th in the league, as Buckets pointed out. They have scored 67 goals and conceded 52. Chelsea, 9th in the table right now, 33 games. They have scored 63 and conceded 59 goals. Buckets, love the way you're leaning here. Love the bet. We'll be tailing it. Why wouldn't I? You're on fire right now. Let's go to Friday.
Friday, we're going to Italy's Serie A, which I know hasn't been the kindest to us, but Ian, I think you're really, really going to like this fixture. I'm looking at the matchup between Torino and a club that you've bet on a couple times here, Bologna. Bologna on the money right now is plus 170. Bologna on the draw no bet, minus 115. And that is where I'm going because, again, we're looking at these last few games. Bologna is fighting for a Champions League spot, a historic top 4 finish for Bologna if they can pull it off. They're currently at 63 points, 4 points ahead of Roma, who is tailing them closely, which means Bologna, again, in a position to where they really can't afford to lose. And while they're not always winning, they're not losing. 5 straight games now without a loss while they're playing a Torino side that is only 1-1 in their last 5. And let's not forget that Bologna is a very good defensive unit right now. They have the 3rd least goals conceded in all of Italy, only behind Inter Milan and Juventus right now. And Torino is one of the only clubs in Italy that is not consistently scoring. Torino only have 31 goals scored in their 34 matches. For me, this could be an ugly game. This could be a 1-0 Bologna. It could maybe be a 0-0. But the fact that I'm getting that draw no bet for a team that doesn't lose, Ian, I'll take that safety net every single time at minus 115.
Yeah, listen, I can see why you're going for this bet because Bologna obviously have won 3 of their last 4 away games. They've corrected their away form. In the first half of the season, dreadful away from home. They couldn't win games consistently. They were poor. But recently they've corrected that. As Buckets pointed out, they're 5 without defeat on the road. And also, if I'm not mistaken, the last away game, they won 3-1 at Roma, which is a ridiculous
Yep.
scoreline to win. They need to keep winning because they're looking to end up in that Champions League spot. The only thing that concerns me, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and I want people to bet responsibly on this one here, Buckets, you do have a bit of a safety net, which is great because Torino don't lose many games at home. They've only lost 2 from 17 games that they have played at home. Listen to the goals for and the goals against. This is where it gets interesting because Torino, they're fucking boring at home. I'm just going to throw it out there. They are 17 games. They've scored 15 and conceded only 8 goals. They don't concede many. They're boring. They make it tight. They're very aggressive. It's difficult and sometimes hard to watch. But Buckets, I like it. I'm going to bet responsibly on this one, but I do like it because I do agree with you. Bologna are by far a better side. I also want to point out right now that Torino are still in very much in the position of no man's land in the table. They're sitting there in the mid-table positions right now in 10th on 46 points. Ain't going anywhere, not going down, not going up. They're just there. They're just present. Whereas Bologna have got something to play for. And that to me just inspires me just a little bit to go for it. Let's go to your best bet on Saturday.
This is where listening and doing your own research makes such a big impact because IPJ's information there probably just gave you 8 different ways to bet on that Bologna game. Maybe they're not the most fun ways to bet it, but I'm leaning towards unders there as well. Going to the next game, I'm actually, Ian, I'm doing a parlay here. I'm doing a bit of I'm going to call it an annoying parlay. It is 3 legs, the exact same bet over all 3 legs, and here's how I'm playing it. 2 of them are in the Premier League, and 1 of them is in France's Ligue. And this is called we've got a title race in the Premier League, so these teams need to score some damn goals. I'm looking at Arsenal over 1.5 team total, Man City over 1.5 team total, and Monaco over 1.5 team total. All 3 of these clubs are massive favorites this weekend, and all 3 of these team total lines by themselves are unplayable. Arsenal to score 2, minus 400. Man City to score 2, minus 480. Monaco to score 2, minus 310. But if you put them together, Ian, it brings it all the way down to minus 110. I almost got to that even money. And if you want to have some ladders, have some fun with these games, you can do that. But these are 3 clubs that are all in positions of desperation. Arsenal and Man City, if they drop points at this point in the season, they very well could forfeit the title. Meanwhile, Monaco in League One is still fighting to make sure that they guarantee a Champions League spot in a tight top of the table League O race. I'm keeping this one simple. I didn't want to overthink it, but I wanted to kind of copy you and give a parlay here. All I'm betting on is goals for teams that are consistently scoring so many goals right now.
There are so many ways to bet on Saturday. Love your bet. Obviously, scoring over 1.5 goals for all 3 of those teams should absolutely hit. So parlay together. It's a safe way in many ways to look at trying to make it happen, make it closer and closer to plus numbers. Minus 110 is something I'm jumping on all day. And you know I love a parlay party all day long. There are some great games on Saturday that I want to bring to people's attention because Buckets avoided this one in particular. Stuttgart at home to Bayern Munich this weekend for a
Yep.
reason. Buckets avoided that one.
Yep.
Let's just play this out here because right now Stuttgart in the table are sitting in 3rd place. They are 5 points behind Bayern Munich. Stuttgart almost beat Leverkusen this past weekend to try and finish in that 2nd spot. If they can beat Bayern Munich, they'll be chasing ever closer to finishing 2nd in the Bundesliga, which would be absolutely ridiculous. And then in the Spanish La Liga, we've got Girona at home to Barcelona. Girona in 3rd place. They are 2 points behind Barcelona, who are sitting in 2nd place, 71 and 73 points. What a great game that is. And then we go to the Scottish Premiership. Of course, we've got Celtic at home to Hearts. We've already pointed out earlier on why that game is important for Celtic. Of course, Lauren Shanklin in that game. Good luck. He might score a goal. And then we go over to Italy. You've got Inter away to Sassuolo, Monza at home to Lazio. Not much to really shout home about there. But here's where I'm leaning towards Buckets on Saturday. The English Championship is taking place on Saturday. Now, the English Championship, every single game, it's the last game of the season. Every single game kicks off at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, this is just a lean and information I'm providing for you out there on Saturday because I don't want you to miss this one. At the top of the table right now, because Ipswich won yesterday against Coventry, they are now 3 points above Leeds, who are 3rd in the table. For automatic promotion, Leicester have won the championship and they're promoted. They are on 97 points. Ipswich are 2nd on 93 points. Leeds are 3rd on 90 points. And Southampton are 4th on 84 points. Excuse me. Leeds at home to Southampton on Saturday morning, 7:30 Eastern, is an absolute banger of a game. But another one to look out for is Ipswich at home to Huddersfield. Now, Ipswich, all they need is a point. A point, and they're automatically promoted into the Premier League, which is ridiculous. But Leeds have got to go for it at home against Southampton. A couple of ways I'm leaning there, but Buckets, the championship has been absolutely brilliant to watch this year.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and it's been so difficult because there were so many of these really, really good teams that for the past 2 months struggled to find results. We saw Leicester drop game after game and point after point. Ipswich kind of doing the same, but I'm excited. I think Ipswich get the point this weekend, and I am stoked to see them in the Prem. They are a fun club to watch right now.
Let's go to Sunday.
Sunday, I forget who the commenter was, so I apologize. But there was a commenter a couple weeks ago that said, "Would you guys ever consider betting on the Swedish Allsvenskan? My team is Djurgården, and I would love to see some Swedish love here in the chat." And while I will not bet on Djurgården, I will bet on the Swedish Allsvenskan for everyone in a big matchup between IF Elfsborg taking on FF Malmo. Malmo is a team that, if you haven't heard of the Swedish Allsvenskan, you might have heard of this club at the very least. Ian, they have played 6 matches this season. 6 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, 18 goals scored, one singular goal conceded. This is a club that absolutely dominates this league, and Elfsborg is usually a team that is competitive. These are one of the clubs that usually finishes in the top 5 and keeps things difficult. But this season, they're not doing that. Elfsborg have conceded 11 times over their 6 matches and have 3 losses over their 6. I'm taking Malmo over 1.5 team total. It's minus 120 currently, and you might even consider laddering that over 2.5, over 3.5. Have some fun with it, but over 1.5 team total seems like a gift. Malmo just played a difficult derby match against AIK, one of their better opponents, and smacked them 5-0 last weekend. This is a team that is firing on absolutely all cylinders. They seem unstoppable, and scoring 2 against Elfsborg, I don't want to say it's a lock because I refuse to use that word, but it seems like that should have been minus 200. And the fact that it's minus 120, I have to play this, man.
I'm just going to share some love for Malmo because I love the fact that Anton Tennerholm, a former not teammate, but former player for NYCFC and real good friend of mine, he just came back from injury and he's back playing for Malmo right now. They're obviously flying, as you pointed out, at the top of the table right now. It's a huge game, a huge team to really bet on. But they're also someone that I really am fond of because of Anton Tennerholm. But they pretty much are cleaning up domestically Buckets. They've only conceded, if I'm not mistaken, 1 goal and scored 18 from 6 games played. Like they are like just absolutely wiping it up domestically. So love the fact that you're listening to the loyal listeners and placing wagers there as well. Let's go to Monday.
Monday is, I don't want to say this is a bad bet, but I understand if people don't want to tail this one because I'm going to Serie A and I'm giving love to a club that has been so good to me so many times this season, but they're a bad team. They're a tough team to watch, so I get why people might not tail this one. I'm looking at Salernitana taking on Atalanta. Salernitana, they're done for. They threw in the towel. The white surrender flag is up. This is a club that in 34 matches, Ian, they only picked up 15 points. They conceded 73 goals, only scored 26. This is their second to last home game of the season. This team is pretty much done. They're getting ready to play in Serie B. They're prepping for the next season. But I, for whatever reason, this might be a gut feeling, I could not shake this wager for the life of me. I think they score against Atalanta. Atalanta fighting for a top 5 spot. Atalanta probably wins this game by scoring 3, 4, or 5 goals. But Atalanta are a bit distracted and are a team that on the road tend to get in their own head a little bit. They're currently playing in the Coppa Italia, they're currently still playing in the Coppa Italia. They have a Europa League semifinal first leg against Marseille. Atalanta has a lot going on, and when you have good clubs with a lot going on, sometimes they look past these matches and they don't really care about the Salernitanas. I'm taking both teams to score. I don't care what anyone says. It is minus 110. I think Salernitana score, Ian. I'm going with my gut here, and I'm having some damn fun on this show because that's what we're supposed to do.
You know, when you're in the pub and you're playing darts, sometimes people put a blindfold on you and just throw that dart and hope that you hit the fucking bullseye. Like, this is like one of those wagers. You're just basically throwing a dart and hoping you hit the bullseye, right?
For the most part, yeah, this is a fun one for me.
I mean, I guess it's the beauty of what we're in, right? Our betting space is something along the lines of exactly this, right? We can provide as much information as we want. We can certainly feel a certain way about a team or a game or a player, but you've no idea how it's going to play out. None of us do. All those so-called betting experts, and man, there are so many of them out there now in our space. They have no idea how these games are going to go out. We're openly telling you, we have no idea how these games are going to play out. And you could have a team that is such a heavy favorite. It's ridiculous. And anything can happen. And of course, there's always a chance of Salernitana scoring a goal this weekend against Atalanta. The one thing I will say, though, is that Atalanta have not impressed me after multiple competition. They don't necessarily have the rotation, and they're going to have to rotate their starting 11. So conceding a goal and still winning that game is very possible. So both teams to score is absolutely possible. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, it's something that I would probably chase. What was the line on it?
Minus 110.
Minus 110. I mean, it's not a bad way to lean, really. It's not bad. All right, let's go to Tuesday.
Tuesday is the one that Ian talked about pre-show. It's going to be a very tough one to bet because it is going to be that Dortmund versus PSG clash, or PSG versus Dortmund going back to France in that second leg. And without knowing the first leg scoreline, it's really hard to say what's going to happen, because if Dortmund wins this first leg 5-0, it's going to drastically change how we're going to bet that second leg. I will say, if you're leaning towards lines already, even though there's not a whole lot of lines available, I'm looking at the All-Stars. I'm looking at players like Kylian Mbappe, shots on targets, anytime goal scores, or I'm looking at players like Julian Brandt to score or assist. Those are kind of the two guys I'm targeting on both ends of the pitch. But Ian, there's not a whole lot we can do in the betting space until we either have more lines available or see how that first leg plays out. What I will say is I still think Dortmund get a win in this first leg. I'm looking at a 2-1, 3-2. I think it'll be high scoring, but I do see goals from Dortmund in this first leg. And because of that, I would also lean towards PSG in the second leg to be scoring goals, because I wouldn't be shocked if they're playing from behind in that second leg fixture.
Yeah, love it. And I think the fact that they've met each other in the group stage, and that was exactly how it played out as well, right? Borussia Dortmund had one shot on target away from home, and of course PSG would go into that game as a favourite. And I'm really intrigued to see how PSG handle this first leg. Of course, we can't wait. By the time everybody listens to this, that game will be done and dusted. But that second leg is going to be so tasty. And I think if the tie is close, like if you get it to a 1-1, a 2-1, a 1-0 scoreline, a tie, whatever it may be, going into the second leg, expect fireworks, especially from PSG. Now, the Qatari Sports Investment Group, they want to win the Champions League. They've changed their idea. They want to be a bit younger. They've gone away from superstars. Kylian Mbappe looks like he's leaving. But my, oh my, Kylian Mbappe wants to win that trophy before he leaves. So player prop bets are absolutely brilliant way to lean towards this game. And watch out for our social media on this one, because we will be very active. And I think we're going to be pretty active on next Wednesday's game, second leg, of course, as well. So make sure you check out our social medias in case we do provide a best bet, which I'm sure Buckets will confirm a solid best bet for that Tuesday game. Let's go to Wednesday.
Yeah, and always check our social medias, because both on Instagram and TikTok, we played Harry Kane to score yesterday, which was miraculously at plus odds in that Bayern Munich fixture. So we're posting bets all over the place. Looking at our Wednesday.
When you say yesterday, you mean
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Right.
Carry on.
I'm learning. For our Wednesday fixture, it is going to be that second leg between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. And Ian, I'm doing a weird one here because I'm scared of this game. Thomas Tuchel is maybe the only manager in Bayern Munich history that can get this team to play defensive, that can get them to sit back and play for that 1-0 victory like we saw against Arsenal in the last round. I'm looking at there to be more goals in the second half than there are in the first half, Ian. I've done this before. It's a tricky bet, but it's currently priced at minus 105, because when you are drawn 2-2 going to the second leg and you are Bayern Munich knowing that you are the underdogs, you are going to play things a bit slow here. You're going to play careful, and neither team is going to want to be the club to make that first critical error to concede a goal. This is the kind of match that could be 0-0 at half and still end 2-1 or 2-2, because it's just both teams trying to find that little bit of opportunity to make that first moment of brilliance and to create that first big goal and that moment of greatness. But I think it's going to take a while for that to happen. I think the second half will be explosive, and I think the first half might be a little bit difficult to watch if you're betting on goals for this one.
This one could go to extra time. I'm just going to throw it out there. That one's a really difficult one to predict. I have no idea which way to go in that game. I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's the second leg. Bayern Munich are very much into it. But I'm excited to really just get stuck into that one. We might do some stuff on our social media ahead of that game next week. So look out for lives, or look out for the social media clips that are coming your way next Wednesday ahead of that big one. Buckets, you ready for my best bet this weekend?
Let's do it.
All right, here is my best bet for this weekend. I'm going to the game on Saturday. It's Manchester City against Wolves. Manchester City on the money line, minus 1,100. Wolves on the money line, plus 1,900. Good luck to everybody out there who's placing a money line wager. I am not one of them. I'm doing something completely different, which I learned from my betting expert friend, the unicorn, the blonde bombshell, John Bucketimer. I am looking towards Erling Haaland scoring goals in this game. What I'm looking at is Erling Haaland to score first or last at minus 135 for a full unit. I'm going for 2+ goals from Erling Haaland at plus 160 for half a unit. And then I'm looking for an Erling Haaland hat trick or more at plus 550 also for a half unit. Now, across the sportsbook right there, anytime goal scorer is not enough for me to go at. I think it was minus 225 or something like that for him anytime. I'm going for him to score first or last, 2+ goals, and a hat trick. I am placing a couple of wagers on Erling Haaland being busy this weekend. He arrived back on the scene in Nottingham this past weekend after being absent in those quarterfinal games against Real Madrid. Where was Erling Haaland? Even Erling Haaland doesn't know where he was for those quarterfinal games. He just simply didn't turn up. Let's talk table positions. Manchester City are second, 1 point behind Arsenal, who are first in the table, played one game less. Arsenal have a +7 goal difference better. That counts. So watch out for City. They need goals in the table positions. Erling Haaland, 32 goals across all competitions, 21 of them in the Premier League, 6 in the Champions League, 5 in the FA Cup. 11 of his 21 in the Premier League have come at home. All time, 93 games, 84 goals, 15 assists. He's 2 goals away from the same record he had at Borussia Dortmund. Producer Jeff's Borussia Dortmund. At Dortmund, he had 89 games and 86 goals, which is a crazy, ridiculous record. Against Wolves, 3 games, 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 goals scored, which caught my attention. Erling Haaland's output so far is 4.2 shots per 90 minutes. It's only bettered by 2 players in the Premier League right now. Rodrigo Muniz has had 4.4 shots, and then we've had Darwin Núñez, who's got 4.7 shots per 90 minutes. Erling Haaland, yes, breaking it down. The Golden Boot race is absolutely on the Premier League as well. Haaland is sitting on 21 goals. Cole Palmer on 20 goals. Alexander Isak on 19 goals. Ollie Watkins on 19 goals. Dom Solanke on 18 goals. Mohamed Salah on 17 goals. Don't forget, there's a Golden Boot race. And that, I think, is individual importance for Erling Haaland. Wolves, no manager on the sideline. Gary O'Neill was handed a 1-match touchline ban for referee outbursts. Oh, yeah. O'Neill was suspended for the trip to Manchester City for his reaction to the video review call in the Wolves' defeat to West Ham. So the manager is not on the sideline for Wolves either. There's a big game for Manchester City. Please don't forget that they need to play well and win this game because they are chasing a Premier League title. Haaland needs to step up and play well. Haaland needs to absolutely be that guy that's a difference maker. I predict goals, and I predict a lot to them against Wolves. Buckets, what do you think about my wagers this weekend?
Ian, you know how much I love a ladder, and I love when people are climbing up that ladder responsibly. Always go the full unit on the most likely outcome, and then splitting half across the other outcomes is the brilliant and the only way to do this. And let's not forget, Ian, I know that you're not much of a gamer, but Erling Haaland just signed a new partnership. Did you see this? With
I
the
did see it.
mobile
Take it away.
with the mobile game Clash of Clans. I'm not saying that's going to impact his performance, but now the fact that he is the Barbarian king in this game, yeah, he's going for goals now. That's for sure.
I always love strategically how he picks his partners, Erling Haaland. He's doing everything right. I mean, it's just brilliant watching him. If you look at, I use Soccerway sometimes for my statistics as to how I'm catching up on games and stats and players. And if you look at his picture, it's from when he was like a 15-year-old, right? And now when I look at the picture on him on the Premier League website, when I do my statistic reviews, he looks like a fucking Viking warrior. Like, this guy has developed into an absolute animal. I'm not happy with the fact that he disappears in big games, though. But these are the
Yeah.
games where he steps up. So I'm not surprised to see that he will be in the starting 11. I expect that. And I will say this. The 2 and 3 goals only goes if he starts this game. If he's sitting on the bench, don't place this wager. You can't play first or last either. Maybe you can place him anytime goal scorer live. But this bet only goes if he's in the starting 11, which I expect him to be. He's back. He's healthy. He wants to win that golden boot. So I expect him to come up big against Wolves, who I think are struggling right now for performance and results. They just don't look good enough at the moment in time, and especially with no manager on the sideline. Erling Haaland to get 2 or 3 goals, first or last. I would cash all 3 tickets right there, buckets, and run away to the market. Hot Coco is not going to play a role in our show today as far as a video is concerned, but buckets, she did provide a couple of leans here. She's not 100% on a wager, so therefore she's not going to fully commit. But she did want to give something to the loyal listeners after the defeat last weekend, where she's desperately disappointed. She did want to provide a couple of leans. So here I go. You ready for this one, buckets?
Yep.
Real Salt Lake against Sporting Kansas City. Real Salt Lake at home. Real Salt Lake to win and over 1.5 is plus 105, which is kind of crazy. Over 1.5 goals. So Real Salt Lake to score over 1.5. Obviously, it has to happen for them to cash this ticket. Plus 105. Your thoughts on this one? Real Salt Lake, top of the Western Conference right now and flying my former club. Get in there. What do you think?
I'm shocked you can get plus odds with only the over 1.5 goals. I would think you would need 2.5 over that, so I think it's a great shout.
Well, she's also got Real Salt Lake to win there, plus the over
Right.
1.5. So it's parlayed together to get it to those plus numbers. But I like that wager. Sporting KC unpredictable right now, but Real Salt Lake very predictable in their performance. They're absolutely brilliant. Would never want to bet against them. LAFC simply on the money line. They are playing away to San Jose Earthquakes. That is currently sitting at plus 125 on the money line. And Hot Coco is leaning towards taking that money line wager. What do you think?
Man, I need to start watching way more MLS for these hot takes from Hot Coco. Oh, San Jose. Yeah, absolutely. Okay with that one. I was trying to think. I knew I remembered San Jose. It's because I bet on them when they played Austin FC and had like 40 goals in that matchup. But again, they still lost. I think it's a good wager.
Okay, I'm a little bit skeptical about this one, and here's my reason why. LAFC at home, not bad. LAFC away, 4 games, 0 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses, 4 goals scored, 10 goals against. The only reason why I'm saying this is a good look, and that's why you're getting plus 125, is because San Jose are not a great team right now. They're not playing good football. Bit concerned about San Jose right now. LFC have got a great team. They're starting to play some really good football. They can absolutely go in there and take all 3 points. And let's not forget this somewhat of a Californian derby as well. So LFC got a point to prove. I expect a lot of LFC fans go up to San Jose for that game as well. John Bucketsheimer, before we get out of here, there's one last thing I want to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about it. Uh-oh. Your boys. Let's talk about them.
FC St. Pauli, second Bundesliga right now. FC St. Pauli, top of the table right now on 63 points. Holstein Kiel, second in the table on 61 points. Dusseldorf on 56 points. My FC St. Pauli, get this, Buckets, they can get automatically promoted into the Bundesliga on Friday if they win. But the only problem is it's a Hamburg derby. They are away to Hamburg in the derby. And if they win, they get automatically promoted. They can obviously get promoted, of course, with results going in their favor around them. If other teams lose, basically Dusseldorf. But at the same time, Hamburg, who are in fourth place right now on 52 points, are too far behind to be able to catch my beloved FC St. Pauli. So if St. Pauli get the victory, they are automatically promoted. What a great feeling that would be. Now, I played for both of these clubs. I'm going to put my hand up and say, yes, thank you to Hamburg for providing a platform and an opportunity for me to play football. But St. Pauli is my team. It is in my soul. It is in my heart. It is in my blood. And I hope that FC St. Pauli take all 3 points and get automatically promoted. Buckets, the money line right now. FC St. Pauli are plus 160 on the money line to win that game. The derby is alive. It is kicking Friday night. What do you think?
My thoughts from a betting perspective are I have none. I will not bet on this game. I will not give out wagers on this game. I will not do anything with this game out of respect to you and your beloved St. Pauli. But it's a derby. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. I will be watching it, and I will be hoping for the absolute best for your boys here.
What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, I am doing absolutely nothing, and I'm very excited for that. I need a weekend of just mental recovery, cleaning up the house, hanging out with the dog, and relaxing a bit after the couple weeks we've had.
Awesome, brother. You deserve it after a great week that you've just had. I hope the next week is another fantastic betting week for everybody out there. Please bet responsibly. Please make sure you look after your mental health. Please make sure that you're looking after your loved ones, your friends, your family. Check in on people who are living next door to you. Make sure you're checking in on your friends you haven't heard for a while. Feel free to go the extra mile to check in on people and make sure they're doing okay. Buckets, I appreciate you and all the great work that you've done for our show Stoppage Time, and what we are doing here behind the scenes with our producer Jeff is absolutely brilliant. Building something beautiful. It is awesome to be a part of this. It's awesome to do this every single week. Of course, we want to do it every single day. And Buckets, we have heard from very important people out there in the sports media space that they also want to hear it every single day. Am I right?
You are right. I'm sure we can't talk about anything yet, but we're working towards the right direction here to bring this every single day.
Yeah, we are absolutely doing something. We're on the right track, but obviously be patient with us, everybody. The numbers are great. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch the shows. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Thank you so much for dropping a comment on the show. The likes, the subscribes, they mean the world to us. Keep continuing to do that. It will also push us to be in a great position where we can build our foundation with a great partner. That's what we're looking for. I saw one of the comments recently saying, someone saying, yeah, they're not sharing their wins or losses because they want to get a sportsbook partner. Negative. Already had that. Didn't work out for us. It was great while it lasted. We could have taken the money and ran, but we're not interested in that anymore. We want a solid partner for our loyal listeners where we can grow our show in the way we want to grow our show with the right people. And certainly having producer Jeff around us is putting us in the right path. Buckets, have a great weekend. Producer Jeff, have a great weekend. Loyal listeners out there, have a great weekend. And just like my boys, FC St. Pauli, are going to do this Friday, make sure you absolutely have it!
Stoppage time.
Ian, we're getting back to our prime where we say it's going to be a short show and then it's still over an hour.
Good intentions. Good intentions.
Yeah.